Build a time machine, set it for 30,000 years ago. Step out next to a campfire, and before you even see a single ancient human, something else hits you first. The smell, wood smoke, sweat that has never once met soap, damp animal hides and warm bodies packed close inside a cave. Your soft modern nose would probably water. So let's just ask the thing everyone secretly wonders. Did ancient humans absolutely reek? Were our glorious ancestors, the ones who conquered the Ice Age and painted the first art, basically walking gym bags? The honest answer is funnier and stranger than a simple yes. Because stink turns out to be one of the most relative words in any language, and by their standards, the smelly weirdo in this story might actually be you. So pinch your nose, because we're going to answer 3 things: where the smell really comes from, whether they ever cleaned it up, and why they handled their own stench far better than you handle yours. Let's dig in. Start with a myth buster that surprises almost everyone. Sweat itself is nearly odorless. The stink isn't the sweat, it's the bacteria eating it. You have 2 kinds of sweat glands. Eccrine glands are all over your body, pumping out watery sweat just to cool you down. But apocrine glands, the ones in your armpits and groin that switch on at puberty, release a thick, oily sweat that is basically a buffet. Millions of bacteria living on your skin feast on it, and the smell is, to put it bluntly, their waste. So technically, you don't stink. Your bacteria do. You're just the landlord. And how strong that smell gets is partly written in your DNA. There's a gene called ABCC11, and one tiny change in it, a single letter, G to A, flips 2 things at once. Your earwax turns dry and flaky, and your armpits go almost completely odorless. Here's the wild part. Around 80 to 95% of people of East Asian descent carry that no-odor version, while across much of Europe and Africa, the original, smellier version dominates. Which means body odor is, quite literally, an inheritance. Some of your ancestors were genetically funkier than others. In fact, that no-odor variant is so common across East Asia that even today, deodorant is a far smaller business there than in the West. Now, ancient humans almost all carried the original strong-smelling version, plus more body hair to trap the scent, plus, obviously, zero deodorant. So by raw chemistry, yes, they carried a strong, musky, unmistakably human smell. But here's the twist your nose keeps forgetting. Smell is relative. Your brain mutes any constant smell within minutes. It's called olfactory habituation. In a world where every single person smelled of smoke and sweat and earth, nobody smelled like anything. There was no fresh laundry baseline to fall short of. The stink only exists because we, much later, invented the alternative. Now here's where most people are flat out wrong. They picture filthy, never-washed cavemen caked in dirt. The reality? Ancient humans were probably cleaner than the medieval kings who came tens of thousands of years later. No, they didn't have soap. Soap is a much later invention. But they had water, and they used it. Look at where Stone Age sites cluster on the map. Rivers, lakes, springs. Not only for drinking, for washing. And no soap is no problem, because nature makes its own. Plants like soapwort and horsetail are loaded with saponins, natural compounds that literally foam up in water like a bar of soap. Add a scrub of sand, of ash, of rough leaves, and you strip oil and grime right off the skin. Then there's the secret weapon hanging in the air around them, smoke. Sitting beside a fire every single night, basically smoke cures you. And smoke is genuinely antibacterial, killing off some of the very microbes that make the smell. Your ancestors were, in a real sense, the original smoked product. They also groomed constantly, and not just to look nice. Picking carefully through hair and skin, the way our ape cousins still do, pulls out lice, fleas, and grime. Grooming was hygiene and friendship at the same time. And their mouths beat ours in one huge way. No sugar, on a diet of meat, roots, and fiber, they got far fewer cavities than we do, and they cleaned their teeth with chew sticks and toothpicks. We've literally found the tiny grooves those toothpicks wore into Neanderthal teeth. And the question you are all actually here for, what did they do without toilet paper? The same thing every animal does, and the same thing billions of people still do today. Leaves, moss, grass, a smooth stone, snow, or simply water. And because they were nomadic, you never lived parked next to your own waste. You moved on, and the land quietly handled the rest. And the camp itself? Its strongest note often wasn't filth at all. It was wood smoke, the same warm smell that still makes us stop and breathe in a little deeper today. But here's the part that flips the whole question upside down. To an ancient human, smell wasn't gross. It was information, a sixth sense we have mostly thrown in the trash. Your nose was a tool. Remember that famous t-shirt experiment where people preferred the scent of partners whose immune genes were most different from their own? That wiring is ancient, And smell is the most emotional sense you have. It plugs almost directly into the parts of the brain that store memory and feeling, which is why one stray whiff can yank up a memory from decades ago. Body odor helped your ancestors choose a healthy mate, recognize their own family in the pitch dark, and even smell fear or sickness on another person. And smell was survival itself. A hunter who reeked of human would never sneak up on anything, so people masked their scent, rolling in earth, in smoke, in crushed plants to vanish into the landscape. There are even birds, like the bearded vulture, that deliberately bathe in red ochre, and our ancestors smeared that very same ochre on their skin, which we now know can actually kill bacteria and neutralize odor. So they were not just helplessly stewing in their own funk. They managed scent, masked it to hunt, used it to bond, and even mixed the first crude perfumes from aromatic plants, tree resins, and fat. Beauty, vanity, and the urge to smell good, it turns out, are nearly as old as we are. Now, you might object. Come on. By our standards, they still must have been disgusting. And sure, drop one into a modern elevator and somebody's eyes would water, but turn it around. Drop you into their world, soaked in synthetic body spray, deodorant, and fruit-scented shampoo, and you would smell utterly alien. A walking chemical cloud no nose on Earth had ever met. To them, you'd be the bizarre creature who smells like a flower that doesn't exist. So, did ancient humans stink? By your nose, yes. Of smoke, of sweat, of earth and animal. But stink was never really the point. They were cleaner than you'd ever guess, smarter about scent than you'd believe, and they lived inside a sense of smell so sharp it shaped who they loved, what they hunted, and how they stayed alive. We are the strange ones. We took a million-year-old superpower, spent a fortune scrubbing ourselves down to a blank nothing, and then sprayed smells back on out of a bottle. So the next time you catch wood smoke drifting on the night air, or the warm, familiar smell of someone you love, and something deep and wordless lights up inside you, that is not nothing. That is the oldest nose you own, remembering a time when smell was everything. This is Sketchient. Subscribe, and stay curious about where we came from.